What is up, YouTube? Today we're going to be talking about the most confusing thing you can do from 10 a.m. to 11:15 a.m. in the morning, psychology! More specifically, we're going to be talking about how the interviewer Steven, what an angel, learns through Vygotsky's theory of learning, socioculturalism. Welcome to the game show. Guess that object. Now, what is this? No. It is not a donut. It is actually Vygotsky's little circle, the zone of proximal development. Woo! Yeah! And Steven is currently right here in the zone of actual development. Now, what is this? No, it is not a donut either. Oh, it is former U.S. Navy Chief Chase Hughes. Aww. So, Steven, and I guess probably most of us, have absolutely no idea what elicitation is, besides the fact that it is a technique used by the CIA in order to get information out of people. And Chase begins teaching this concept with a definition, a short one, using statements instead of questions. And it's the beginning of Steven and our long journey into this new zone of proximal development. So he uses this hypothetical situation where a person goes into a grocery store and he has 60 seconds to figure out how much this grocery store worker gets paid. So he goes in there, he gets some sort of thing to make her have to help him, and then he goes, "Holy cow, I read this article, you're getting paid like $27, that's fantastic, holy cow." "No, I'm getting paid $15, like what are you talking about?" So that's pretty much what happened, and it created this need for correction, which is what he explained to Steven, that people want to correct misinformation. If you don't ask, then there's not going to be these guards up blocking this information from coming out. He then explains how he uses some of these statements, followed by an example of how he does it, followed by another way that he does it, disbelief, followed by another example. Every time he does something, he gives an example, and then he adds on to it, and then he gives another example. By going in this brick-by-brick process, he is expanding into the ZPD, and he isn't overstepping. He isn't going into what's called the zone of distal development, or the ZDD. Why this is important is because you can't go from the ZAD, which is the knowledge that you can do yourself, to the ZDD. Doesn't matter if someone's helping you or not, you just can't grasp it because you don't have an understanding of what's in the ZPD. You need that foundation in order to grow. We propose that an essential feature of learning is that it creates the zone of proximal development. That is, learning awakens a variety of internal developmental processes that are able to operate only when the child is interacting with people in his environment and in cooperation with his peers. Once these processes are internalized, and they become part of the child's independent developmental achievement. Or, in my more dumbed down understanding of this, we begin to reach a point where this becomes part of our natural process, and it becomes something we can actively do without any sort of major thought or major, I'm gonna use this elicitation device, I'm gonna use what I've learned now. It kind of happens. We kind of just bring it into our own process of how we talk, of how we communicate, etc. And this is huge for Vygotsky because, wow, your theory might be correct. And this is huge for us because now we have integrated elicitation into our system. Steven's integrated it into his a little bit, and it just shows now my ZAD is what the ZPD used to be. And then this fuzzy zone now becomes The ZPD! Whoa! Now, what if I said everything that I just said is wrong? Completely and utterly wrong to a certain point of view. No, we're not talking about the madness that is perception in radical constructivism. We're talking about pragmatism. Sorry, Von Giesel. In John Dewey's book, Experience and Education, he talks about how there is an intimate and necessary relation between the process of actual experience and education. Whoa, what does that mean? In order to learn something, you have to do it. So, if I am playing my trumpet, I can't learn from someone telling me it at some point. Eventually, I get to a point where in order for me to get better at it, I have to do it. Oh! Oh my God! It's horrible, right? That's pragmatism. Woo! Thank you, John Dewey! Every time Chase gives an example, let's say about disbelief, he would always give some context to it first. He'd elaborate on the scenario happening in this example, and then how a person used it, right? Which is utterly what pragmatism is. In order to get better at it, you have to do it. He can sit here and he can explain these fake scenarios, but they're fake. They aren't real scenarios. He talks about how everyone he's trained is required to get really, really, really good at using these elicitation devices, and the only way to get really good at using them is by doing it. Now, sadly, with that explosion, I'm gonna have to leave it here. If you like this video, like, subscribe, hit the follow button, and give me an A. What? Awesome. Have a good one.